perhaps you can share with us your perspectives on how you think the COMPASS trial is going to impact the development of new treatments for multiple myeloma.
The joy of the COMPASS trial is that it looks at, over time, 1,000 patients, and it studies them from that very first bone marrow biopsy through 5 years, looking at their data longitudinally. So we're banking the tissue, we're looking at all the molecular data, and we're looking at all the clinical data. And what's critically important is to see, how does a patient's myeloma change over time? That's really important because the disease gets more and more heterogeneous. But when people ask us what is the real objective of the study, it's, as Deborah said, it's to look at the myeloma world and start segmenting those patients. Myeloma is not one disease, it's more like 10, 15, we don't know how many. And over time, to start to understand, what hypotheses are we starting to see? What are we starting to see in terms of treatments that might be appropriate for patients at low, medium, and high risk? And hopefully over time, as we get more and more data in, to be able to look at that data and understand more about biomarkers and new targets in the disease. So being a trusted third party that could bring everybody together, I think was critically important to us, and we were thrilled to work with companies like Millennium to get it started.
It is a great initiative, and it's sort of alone in its class right now. One of the other things that's really useful when you gather longitudinal data sets is always when we test new medicines, they're tested in patients who have relapsed and gone through all of the standard tested therapies, and that's appropriate. But it means we're testing new therapies in patients whose disease has many more mutations than perhaps a newly diagnosed patient might have. So if we get these longitudinal data sets, we'll be able to understand how a patient's disease evolves over time, and potentially how to bring effective therapies earlier in the disease faster than the traditional therapeutic development might allow. So I think everybody can benefit. Patients benefit by potentially getting new therapies sooner. They also benefit by getting a therapy that's most likely to benefit their particular disease. And if their disease is not likely to benefit, they're not exposed to an ineffective therapy and all its side effects. So that's really the goal: increase that benefit to risk ratio.